train your brain to think more clearly when you're blindsided in a sales conversation. You're mid-call, and this prospect hits you with this curveball that you just don't see coming. Your brain slams the panic button. You open a dozen browser tabs in your head, trying to find the right thing to say, but nothing loads. You fumble your words, you ramble, you lose control of the moment. And worst of all, it kills your confidence. I know that feeling because I've been there. It makes you feel off and unprepared and incompetent. And it just makes you look like you're not in control. My name's Metscher, and I coach top performing sales pros and leaders across the country. This exact challenge shows up consistently, whether it's a one-on-one, a leadership call, or discovery. We've taught this simple mental framework to dozens of reps and leaders, and every time the light bulb goes off. So if you've ever blanked, rambled, or felt the pressure of not knowing what to say, lean in, because this could flip that moment on its head. Even the best communicators feel sharp when they've rehearsed, but the second that they get thrown off script, their confidence drops. The real problem isn't pressure. The problem is not having something to grab onto when pressure hits. That's why we teach something called the 3-2-1 framework. It's simple, it's fast, and it works especially well in high-stakes conversations. We use it in sales calls, team meetings, and even presentations. Anytime you need to guide the room with clarity and conviction. Here's how it works. 3 key points to give structure, 2 examples to ground it emotionally, and 1 clear action or takeaway to make it stick. Let's use me, for example. I'm talking to a sales leader who needs support for their team. Instead of just listing off solutions and hoping something sticks, you lock into 3, 2, 1. There's a bunch of different directions that we could go, Mr. Manager. Closing, referrals, time management. One leader actually had us focus on referrals because he knew his team was good at asking, but anytime they got a soft no, they buckled. We helped them create an atmosphere that felt more inviting than intruding. Another leader had no idea what his team was doing throughout the day, and it showed. He could look at their calendars and there wouldn't be any meetings in place, but whenever they looked at the scoreboard, nothing was getting set. So we rebuilt their calendar around actual selling time, not just busy work. Now, every team's different, Mr. Manager. I'm curious, did any of that resonate, or what are 1 or 2 things that you're trying to focus on right now? This isn't a script. It's a way to speak with clarity, to lead conversations, and create emotional connection without rambling, overselling, or freezing. Now I want you to try this. So think of a conversation that you've had recently, maybe with a rep on your team, maybe a potential prospect who is all over the place, or even maybe with your leader where you struggled to make your point stick. Now run it through 3, 2, 1. What are the 3 key points you're trying to make? Not 10, just 3. Now, what are 2 real-world examples or stories that could have helped it land emotionally? Stories from the field, wins, struggles, anything that makes it real. And finally, what's that 1 clear takeaway that you want them to remember, or the next step? This is how we take conversations from vague to powerful, from passive to persuasive, from I hope this makes sense to this is going to land. This is the 3-2-1 framework. It's not fancy, it's not theory, it's structure for real conversations that matter. Now, I got one more example to give you, but before I do, I think it's really important. You might be thinking, man, I already know how to do all this stuff, but most salespeople don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because their days don't support their goals. Here's the truth. Structure alone doesn't create momentum, habits do. The top producers that we coach don't just wing it. They don't just show up and hope it goes well. They follow structure and routine. There is a big difference between people that get lucky once and people that lead the pack month after month. If you want to see what those daily rhythms actually look like, how the top 1% of salespeople think, plan, and execute, take a quick look at this video. Now back to the example. So let's say I'm talking to a sales leader, and the issue isn't skill, it's buy-in. The team is burnt out. They're showing up, but they're checked out. Here's how I'd use this 3-2-1 framework in the moment if I just learned that about the team. So, Mr. Manager, there's a few different directions that we could take this. We could look at leadership communication, goal alignment, or team morale. Honestly, one leader that I worked with realized that he hadn't even reset his team's goals in the last 6 months. People were just chasing numbers that no longer meant anything to them. We reframed the goals around impact and the entire energy shifted. Now, another leader that we worked with wasn't communicating the why behind the work. His team felt like they were just being told what to do, not bought into what they were building. Once we started connecting the dots, reps stopped just clocking in and they started showing up. So let me ask, when you look at your team right now, where do you feel like the disconnect is really coming from? That's the power of structure. You don't need a script. You just need a rhythm. 3, 2, 1. Clarity, emotion, action. Now, here is the key to making this mental framework really fly. Build a mental catalog of examples. When you've coached, sold, or led long enough, you start to see patterns, wins, losses, leadership moments, wake-up calls. Write them down. Because when the pressure's on, these stories become the shortcut to instant credibility and emotional connection. And when you combine that mental catalog with 3-2-1, you're dangerous in the best way.